You're at the high school, and currently the program I do, I'm at the high school in the morning. I take all the required classes that I have to take to graduate, and then in the afternoon I go to Reynolds Farm Equipment, and what I do there varies. Some days I'm working on lawn and garden stuff, so lawn mowers, gators, compact tractors. Other days I'm working in the ag department, where I'm either setting up equipment that is going out to the farmers, or I'm repairing ag equipment. And outside of that, I've done this for 2 years now. I did it last year, which kind of kicked off the program for other schools. And this year, it's expanded a lot. So now, just at the Atlanta store, we've got me here at Heights. We've got a kid up at Tipton that goes, and then we also have a kid over at Sheridan. And with this program, it's gotten me in the door with Reynolds. And here, hopefully in a couple months, I'll get signed up to actually go to John Deere School down at Vincennes University, where they've partnered with. And I'll go down there. It's a 2-year program. I will go down for what would be first semester, where I'll be learning the basics of the new agricultural equipment, between the precision planning, combines, different engines, transmissions, all that stuff, between both ag and lawn and turf. I will then come back up here for what would be third quarter, where I will get hands-on experience with the dealer, which is required with the program, to get a mix between classroom time and field time. Because the realm of ag mechanics is not something that you can just learn from being in a classroom. There are certain situations and circumstances that you actually have to physically do to understand. But then I will go back down for fourth quarter, get more time with a structured classroom, learning more about the functionality of the equipment between HVAC, electrical, injection pumps, transmissions, hydraulics, what have. Then I'll just keep bouncing back and forth until I complete the class. And once I complete the class, I will then have a career at Reynolds, where I can then choose to stick with them, or I will have the knowledge to be able to go out on my own and start my own business as an ag mechanic. So that's a lot of what I do for my day-to-day.
Now it's important that we make connections. Oh, I'm sorry.
No, we get a couple questions for Jake.
Oh, you got a couple questions. Jake, they have questions for you. All right, shoot.
So I was going to ask real quick, and this is just kind of for the group, but can you talk just a little bit about how you got into this and where that interest came from? Like, talk about that a little bit.
So growing up, I've grown up on a farm. I've grown up operating equipment, working on equipment, but particularly antique tractors. And my grandfather owned an Amoco gas station. Well, back then those were your service stations. So that got me interested in mechanics and fixing things. Just growing up around him, we were always working on old cars and stuff. And then, having been farming my whole life, baling hay, stuff breaks, and someone's got to fix it. And that kind of grew the passion for me to want to be an ag tech. And the old counselor, Miss Cantlin, she knew the person that helped set up the youth program with Reynolds, trying to get new people interested. Well, they decided I was a decent enough student to start this program and go over there and just be a trial run to see if the school agreed with it and Reynolds agreed with it. Because they allowed students previously to do the co-op program, where you go and work. But Reynolds wanted to be able to have juniors and have them both junior and senior year. So they let me kind of start that program, and then everyone thought it was a good idea. So now it's an actual class that's offered at multiple schools.
So we have today with us the old counselor's husband, Kurt, and Carrie Lively, Kurt Cantlin and Carrie Lively with the Pursuit Institute. Talk a little bit about how that connects with what
Sure.
you guys do.
So Jake, you're underselling yourself a little bit. Like, you were the guinea pig. If it didn't work with you, it wasn't going to work with anyone. So I applaud you for, you know, showing some of our business partners what students can do, what high school students are capable of, what, you know, soft skills and showing up to work on time and working hard and being willing to learn. A lot of times businesses and adults don't give kids enough credit to know that they can actually come into a work environment and add to their bottom line and kind of just perceive it as, oh, we're bringing on a kid, it's going to be more work for us. And so you really have set the stage for other people to follow in your footsteps, so don't sell yourself short on that. But this is one of the programs that we have a lot of students interested in. Through the Student Institute, we want to offer equitability across the county, so students here at Hamilton Heights should have access to this, but we also have a Reynolds location in Fishers, and students at HHSC and Fishers are doing the same thing. So this really is something that's reshaping the entire county, our community here, and Jake, yeah, don't sell yourself short, because you have laid a plan for other students to follow in your footsteps, so thank you.
And make sure that we emphasize to Mrs. Cantlin, she's the old counselor.
I want to highlight to you that the program that you're going to at Vincent, you have to have a company actually sponsor you. So talk a little bit about that, because you've done such a good job.
So with that, like other companies, they mostly do just on-site training. Like I know Case, they just send you to some diesel school to learn the general functionality of the engine. But John Deere has actually created their own school. And what they do is they partner with different universities. So like the one I'm going to is Vincennes, but Lakeland University also has this John Deere school. But you can't just, not anyone can get into this. You actually have to go to the dealer, jump through all the hoops in the process of interviews and whatnot, prove that you're actually worth the time sending down there. And then once the dealer then agrees, you'll sit down, sign your name, and then they ship you off for a couple of years to learn what you need to learn, and then you come back and you'll get your actual experience and develop your knowledge. Because this really is a program, you can't just jump into being an ag tech, especially with the new tractors, all the technology that goes into it, and all the precision stuff with the GPS. So they don't want just anyone in there doing it. They want to make sure you are capable of understanding the systems that go into the new equipment.
I got two things. Number one, thanks for doing this. I know it's not easy, but you do it really well. And I think it's reflective of the student that you are, and we all know academically you're really solid, but you're also really great in this capacity as well. So don't forget that. One of these days you're going to have the opportunity to lead or teach when you're doing this kind of stuff, just through kind of this experience. The other thing I'll say is Jake is an example of somebody who cracked a barrier with a lot of businesses, especially businesses in this area. So when you're dealing with, I don't care if it's construction, heavy construction, union lines, you know, auto mechanics, those kinds of things often come with some stringent age requirements and things like that to get people actually on the floor doing the stuff that they're doing. And Reynolds Partnership is a great example of breaking down that barrier. It can be done, and it was done for the right reasons. And we've got students just like Jake, you know, all across the board, I think, that can do that, but we have to be mindful that there are going to be things that as a group we're going to have to address too and help address. And I think the Pursuit Institute has done a good job of that, getting these kids in places and stuff, but it's not easy, so you've done a good job. I appreciate it.
I want Jake, knowing how much that you love school, how has this program, now how do you see finishing high school versus what you used to see high school?
Say it.
That's the right way to word this. So, I'll take it to freshman year. At that time, I was wanting to be a game warden, because growing up, I've hunted, fished, trapped, whatnot, and I wanted to protect that. But when I got older, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna do this and I ain't gonna be able to do none of that anymore. I need to pick a different option. And Christy Kirtley, who I show cattle with, her son, she came in and talked to our ag classes about Reynolds. And at the end of the school year, I was like, you know, that may be an option. So I went and talked to her, and then that's when I got in contact with Ms. Cantlin, and thankfully they were both friends and agreed on this. And so that opened that up for me. But with school, at that point, switching over to wanting to go into ag mechanics, I didn't want to sit in classic because I didn't have any, Heights not having ag classes in that realm necessarily. I didn't have any elective classes to take on top of my English, my math, all my required classes. So I would have been sitting there all day doing stuff that had no relation to what I wanted to do. So that being able to go off site and go to Reynolds opened that opportunity for me to have classes that A, I enjoy because I love working on equipment, and B, fit the interest of what I want to do, getting me that real life knowledge to where now I'm not just sitting in a classroom twiddling my thumbs for something that I'm not going to use because it has no relation. But now I'm able to get done what I need to get done in school so I can graduate, get my diploma, but I'm also able to do what I love.